Hello. So who here has ever been told that in order to be successful in life that you need to be a lawyer, a doctor, or a business person? Maybe an engineer. Anybody get that? Yeah? Yeah, I totally got that about 10 years ago. My mom and dad were super proud of their son, who is well on track to the path towards law school. And I walked into my economics professor's office because he was going to write me a letter of recommendation to go to this law program. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll write you a letter, Charles. I want to ask you a few questions first. So why do you want to practice law? And I looked at him and I was like, oh, it's a good job. It's a job. There can be money in it, and it opens doors, it opens doors. And he looked at me and he said, okay, that I'm hearing why being a lawyer is a good profession, but I guess what I'm wondering is, why do you, Charles, want to practice law, like potentially every day? And when he asked me that, I kind of looked at him and said, well, when you put it that way, I guess I don't. And so I left that office, I went and got back in the car. My mom and dad were like, how'd it go? How'd it go? It's like, yeah, about that. So not as proud anymore. So anyway, I don't tell you the story to make it out like lawyering's a bad job or that they're bad people. We need great lawyers, and lawyering is a great profession. I'm telling you this because it was the moment that I learned a super valuable life lesson, and that was that there's a very real difference between someone else's vision of what your life should be and your vision of what your successful life should look like, and that you need to live that. So after I left that office, I was pretty confused. I was like, man, with the law thing out the window, like, I've changed majors so many times. I don't really know what to do. I don't know what I want to do, So I asked myself, what has been the most consistent thing that I've done in my life? And video games. Video games were always there. They were the things that, like, after me and my friends did my homework, our extracurriculars, our sports, our orchestra, it was the campfire that we would go gather around at the end of the day. And that campfire happened to look suspiciously like an Xbox. But it's where we created our bonds, really great stories and, like, just lasting friendships. And I started to think to myself, well, could I be that guy? Could I make the next generation of games that would, like, create these bonds and these lasting friendships for these young people? And I decided to give it a shot. And that day started my journey into going after a career in game development. And I'll spare you the gory details, very long story, but I learned a lot along the way, and I want to share those lessons with you here today so that you can go off and do the same thing. Because if you think about doing this for a career, you're going to have a lot of questions that hit you, like, can I really do this? Is this a real job? Can I make money doing it? What will my friends and family think? And the answer is yes, you can do this. It's a fantastic job, and you should totally try it. And it's just like any good game, right? Sometimes you need a key in order to get through that dungeon. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some keys, okay? So that you can go beat the boss. So lesson number 1, find out what you're good at, okay? And this is really important. I feel like there's a misconception that in order to get into games that you need to be, super technical. That's totally not the case. There are so many different disciplines that have to come together in order to ship a game, right? Maybe you're an artist. Maybe you're really passionate about audio and composing music, right? You could do the soundtrack for the game. Maybe you're a writer and you want to write lore or write the quests, really deep storylines. Maybe you really like talking about the game and getting other people excited about it. You could go into marketing. Or maybe you're really passionate about law, and you can go be a lawyer at a game studio. There's literally no end to where you contribute, okay? And that's going to be really important because it's going to help you with lesson 2, which is to build a portfolio, okay? And that's going to be a lot easier if you know what you're good at and what role you want to do in the games industry, okay? Now, there's a lot of ways to do this. A lot of the industry pros today got their start in modding. So, what's your favorite game? Go build a mod for it, right? Modify the level. How could you make the mechanics more interesting? There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do that's very accessible online. Another way to build a portfolio is to go download this little thing called the Unreal Engine. Yes. Totally free, okay? You can go home tonight, do it, and build a game. Get some of your friends involved and do it as a team. That'll give you a very good idea of what it's like to build a game and be in the industry. And then another way to do this, of course, is to attend a program, a game development education program. There are many schools out there. My path was the Guildhall, the folks that are hosting this event for us. That's been awesome this weekend. And I obviously highly recommend that because I graduated from it and it caused me to do very well. But I would say this, regardless of the program that you choose, you need to make sure that it gives you 2 things. That it gives you discipline-specific learning, that it teaches you a craft, and that it gives you the opportunity to build a game as a member of a team. Because when you go and you try to get a job at a games company, they're going to really like to know that you worked on a group of multidisciplinary individuals in order to build a game. And the last lesson that I have for y'all, number 3, is do not be afraid to fail. Do not be afraid to fail. Because you will fail. But that's okay. That's okay. Any endeavor in life that's worth doing, that you're going to work really hard at, you will fail. You will encounter stumbling blocks, okay? And it's important that you get yourself back up and you try again. Now, what's not okay is if you let that fear talk you out of continuing, okay? Out of going after that dream and giving up. When I was nearing the end of my 2 years at Guildhall, I got contacted by, at the time, my dream studio, and they wanted to interview me. I was so excited. I worked so hard towards that interview. I was like, whoa, you're telling me I won't only get a job in games, I'll get to work at my dream studio? Are you kidding? It was ridiculous. And I went through all the interview stages. I got towards the very end, and they contacted me, and they were like, sorry. Nope. And I was a little sad, very sad. And I kind of went into this funk and sort of this dark place, and it really started to cause me to doubt the work that I had done to that point. I was like, well, if I can't get in at my dream studio, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Should I really be doing this with my life? And I just started having all this doubt. And fortunately, I had some close friends there that were able to help me get my head right. And I rallied. I pulled through. I didn't give up. And it worked out. Fortunately, that helped me push through. I was able to get an internship at Sony PlayStation, then go on to work at Riot Games, and then on to Epic. So it worked out, but it would not have if I let the fear get the better of me and if I gave up. So the final note that I'll leave you with, if you choose to go for a path in the game development, if you choose to do that as a career, not everyone will support you. You know, you might have friends or family that will have doubts, like, is this the right thing for them? I don't know if they should do this. So the final lesson is to believe in yourself, okay? Because my parents were not initially supportive of me going into games, and they very much had their doubts. But over time, I worked so hard, and they saw how passionate I was and became really inspired by the work that I was doing, that it totally turned it around. Now my mom is watching the stream live. My dad's here in the audience today, and they're both like very proud of their son, who is a game developer. Thank you. I love you, Mom and Dad. And I would just say this to all the parents out there, like, support your children. You will not regret it. And to all the kids out there, do what you love and do what makes you happy, okay? And everything will work out for you. So thank you. Appreciate it.